Hi, this is PR Frank, and we're continuing with a series of tutorials on how to code with HTML and CSS. And we're doing today's in a text editor called Brackets. You can do this in any text editor, however. And what we're going to cover today is validating. Validation is important when you're designing a web page because there are rules on the internet for how HTML should be written. And you need to make sure you're following all of those rules. So let's first take all of our HTML and select it. I'm going to do Command A. You can do Control A on a PC. I'll copy that. I'm going to switch over to our browser. And in our browser, I'm going to start typing validate HTML. There it is. It brings me to the W3 Schools Markup Validation Service. This is where I would go. W3C is the organization that kind of oversees HTML on the internet. And there are three ways. You can validate it by the URI, if you know the web address of where the file is located on the internet, or you can do it by the upload. I can just upload my file into here, or direct input. And that's what I'm prepared to do right now. I'm going to paste that. You can see that whole site that I've been creating so far is pasted in there, and I'll check it. And as you see, there is one warning and two errors. I left some errors in there on purpose so that when we went to validate, we could have something to deal with. So let's first deal with these errors. My first error, it says I've got a bad value, 300px for the attribute width. And it says it expected a digit but saw a p instead. So I think that means it doesn't like the fact that I wrote pixels as the unit. Perhaps I can just delete the px and it'll understand that 300 means 300 pixels. It also tells me what line it's on, what column, so I can really help. It really helps me target what the issue is. So let's switch back over to brackets and let's go back in and delete the px. I'll save it, select it all, copy it, switch back over, scroll up, click in there, select all, paste over that, and check it. And that certainly solved that. Now I have one more error to contend with. This says that an image element must have an alt attribute. And what that means is that I need some alternative text for that image. Now, I don't know if you knew, but blind people do navigate the internet. So there are accessibility rules also for the internet, for HTML. If I am browsing the internet and I have visual impairment, I can get a text reader to read the text to some sort of speech for me so I can hear what's on that page. But if there's an image, I can't understand that unless there's an alt attribute associated with that image in your HTML. So let's go fix that. Back over here in brackets, right after the width attribute, I'm going to type the alt attribute equals, and I'm just going to type in dog because it's a picture of a dog. I could be more specific, I could write a sentence, but I'm just going to keep it simple. I save that, I select it all, I copy it, I switch back over to my browser, I select all that content, paste over it, check it again, and now the only thing is a warning. So this will turn up if you don't have a language attribute to determine what language the page is in your HTML start tag. All right, so once again, we're going to go back and we're going to grab that HTML element, and it's on line 2, as you'll see. Right here, line 2, and I just have to type lang equals, and it's in English, so I just do en. Most of my page will be in English. Of course, I have all of this Latin here as placeholder text, but this lets the browser know or a user know that this page is about to be in English. I'll save that, select it all, copy it, switch back over, scroll up, select it all, paste, and check it. And now I get a nice green line that tells me no errors or warnings are here to show. So that's great. So that is the simple explanation of how to validate. Validation can get very complicated, especially as your page starts to get more complicated, and maybe you've made an error that you don't understand. But there's a great community of HTML coders out there that can help you with situations like that. But just try to be patient with it, change some things, revalidate until you get that nice green bar going across there. Okay, well, please tune in for future lessons. I'll also show you how to do this exact same thing in Adobe Dreamweaver.